Right then, Spectrum fans. There are some games that are terrible on the Spectrum. They got really bad reviews. This is one of them. That said, I really, really like it. Um, RAF Lightning Simulator, Lightning Sim. This is a 199 flight sim. It is, objectively, it's quite bad. There's all it draws is the runways, the occasional control tower. It got some wireframe planes that if you can start the game off and find them and you're next to them, but what you never get is you never get landscapes or any sort of territory or anything mapped up. You're literally flying most of the time on instruments in the sky. But at the same time, when I was young, I absolutely loved this game because it felt far more realistic. The map in the game of the airfields and the locations is the UK. Um, it's when it says something like base 29 or base 34, they're actually RAF bases. Things like Lookers, Coltishall, all of that. They're all sitting here. And yeah, I've looked up the instructions. I've got them on the other computer here because there, for flight sims, you expect there's a ridiculous number of buttons being used. But even then, I've discovered that there are buttons that I know are in use, but I can't remember what they do. They're not listed on the spec sheet and everything. So I'm going to have to spend a little bit of time playing through this one just to get everything going. Also, it doesn't even have a splash screen to open with. The loading screen is a blue screen with the words Lightning Simulator written on it. So there's lots going on here. Right. This is just going to be a very, very brief attempt at doing part of the game. Let's just load it in there. Um, Look, this is a weird one, it's going to be said, because there's a huge amount of depth to it, but a lot of it is so impenetrable. So, for example, right, where you start. First of all, we need you can switch to Kempston, by the way. I've actually found that the keys are just. This is a keyboard-based game, so even though you can put a stick in it, it actually makes it harder. Station 29, that depends. There's a list of stations, lets you know where you're starting off with. I don't have a list of them anymore. Tanks, if you want your external tanks on. Mission. So, just scroll up here. So your missions are training, practice air to air combat, practice interception high level, practice interception low level, combat high level, combat low level. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, we're going to stay on training, but see, we can cycle through them. So we'll stay on training. User. User is what you want to do in the mission. Why it's called user, I'm not sure. It's scenario would probably be a better one for this. Landing practice, refuel practice, area combat, and the actual mission. Well, we're just going to go for landing practice here, which sets us. It's a bit like landing practice in Scion Flight Sim, and we will you will hold on, bare knuckle, and I will attempt to land the RAF Lightning. Let's have no clouds. Reality gives us G limit, system failures, crosswinds, or nice and steady. So 0, nice and steady. Midday, we'll take that. Wind, won't take any wind. Quite happy with that one, no gusting. So this is basically the most benign flight conditions possible. And we're going to attempt to bring in our cave. So for those of you, just before we start, the controls are FHUNWI for your basic flight control sticks. So F and H is your roll, U and N is vertical aileron, elevators. G is put your stick back in the middle space. W and I are your rudders. We don't have any crosswinds, so we shouldn't need the rudders, and we don't have any actual winds, so we shouldn't need to offset anything. And then there's firing off your brake chute, and there's your landing gear, brakes, and a whole bundle of other stuff. I love this game. Okay, right, takeoff. Except we're taking off, and we're going to be taking off about 4 miles outside of the runway. The runway 7,000 feet long, and it is somewhere in front of us. So let's just get us into level flight. And we're 260 knots and slow down. We will want to bring down our flaps when we get under 200. So let's just throttle back a touch. The the ILS Instrument Landing System, because it's bright white, means that we do have a signal. So the landing guide slope, signified by radar, is slightly above us. Okay, we're under, so we'll get to under 220, we'll drop the flaps down. And we are now slowing down, 220 knots. Okay, flaps are going down. That makes us more lift, more drag. So we'll need to put in a touch more throttle. We'll just watch our vertical descent. We don't want to be dropping down too fast yet. Let's keep the nose up in the air. Once we are under 200 knots, we will drop the landing gear. Not quite there yet. Not quite there. We are now. Drop the landing gear. I want to bring her in at about 160 knots, so we'll let that speed slowly bleed off. There's quite a lot going on here. That is take your best guess of whatever that is. I'm going to go with this. It's some sort of radar tower or something. Okay, so we have our runway in front of us and a control tower next to it. Two lights. So we have a vertical speed indicator from the runway side. If you can see two lights, it means we're pretty close to the glide slope. One light is too high. 3 lights is too low. So we're also going a little bit slow as well, so we don't want to stall up. So let's just put a little bit more pace into the engines. We're going to be slightly high, but we got a lot. As you can see there, we can now only see one light beside us on the runway, so we'll dive down a little bit. Just check our gear is down. Yep. Check our flaps are down. Yep. Speed's 160. We'll just drop the engine back just a little bit. That's fine because we're going to flare. We're slightly high, but I'm quite happy to go long on this. 30, 20, 30, down. Wheel brakes on, brake shoot out. See, the flashy sees the brake shoot. This is because it's one of these planes that just pops the parachute out the back. 80 knots, 70 knots, 60 knots. You know, it might help if we just actually throttle the engine back. That might help with slowing down. Good idea. Okay, release the brake shoot when we're far a bit away, and that is us. I might have practiced that a bit before doing the recording. I shall be completely fair on that, but the sense of satisfaction when I was young of actually working out getting this to land, immense. Okay, we're getting to the end of the runway now, so we'll just kick the rudder bar. There's not much space to move that around. It's not going to let me turn off. I was trying to turn around to take off again, but there we go. That is RAF Lightning Simulator. It also stores up to 32 pictures from your gun camera, but as the game loads, it has them loaded in. So it's almost like this is a demo mode. If you're really good at the game, you could see stuff like this, like another RAF Lightning taking off, or your guns going through, or an enemy aircraft in your gun sights at low level. That's a bomber. That's your refueling tanker. That's a little bit of animation. This is, I like this. You can just see what it looks like as it steps through the animation. Right. I'll give you an idea. I've never ever managed to actually get a missile shot. That there though. Classy ammunition. Classy there in the guns. That there is your RAF Lightning Simulator. Full review on that is going to be coming up, but that is such a burst of nostalgia for me. Love it.